Um, so this is, we're going to dip our toes into taking our integration today with Kami. And Alicia and Leslie are going to jump in here and correct me when I'm wrong and add some interesting content here, so y'all don't just hear me talking. We had in our district a lot of reluctant tech learners on our staffs. And that's okay. We have all found ways of doing things that work for us as teachers, and we know it's really hard to let go of something that works for us. And with the advent of the pandemic and then having to being forced into a digital environment in the classroom, it was really tough for some teachers who hadn't ever had, classroom computer sets, much less know how to use them and teach the children how to use them. So, it was really interesting for us at the beginning of the school year to be teaching both virtually and in the classroom 5 days a week in our district. So, a lot of reluctant tech learners found that when they used this program called Kami, they could still use some of the stuff that they had created for their classroom that worked, the activities that they had used to assess their curriculum that had been working for a long time. They were still able to use them, but they were able to present them in a digital way. And what we have found is that we started using Kami to present digital activities, and we have all sort of graduated beyond it. So that's why we're calling it dipping our toes in, because it's just sort of a preliminary way to get you started in the world of tech without it being too complicated. I think anytime you throw too much at people and you overwhelm them with technology, you're going to have people that are less willing to learn and less able to learn. So this is a really good way to get people started. So without further ado, this is us, by the way, in our emails if you need us. But okay, so if you let me go back. Timeout. What do I do here? There it is. I'm sorry, y'all. I got too many buttons popping up. Okay, there we go. All right, so if you don't mind, if you would put in the box here, write your response here. What was your biggest challenge with integrating technology in your classroom? Think about the hardest part of having things thrown at you really quickly during COVID. Maybe for y'all, it was also digital learning, but something that's been a challenge for you in the classroom with technology. All right, so somebody said not being able to give my students one-on-one attention. I think that was a big one for us all, and especially if y'all had to do, Lord, what do they even call it, where you had students Sarah? In the class.
Share your screen so that we can see those responses.
It's not sharing.
Go ahead and click that green button at the bottom of that Zoom bar, and then we can see.
I thought I had done that. I'm sorry. I clicked the Screencastify one. I'm sorry about that. I hid that one. Can y'all see it now?
No problem. Yes. Okay. And now, thank you.
So we've got here, somebody said that not being able to give my students one-on-one attention, even when you're supposed to be good at technology, sometimes it challenges you, doesn't it? So yeah, I think this is one that probably was a big deal for everybody, the one-on-one attention, the not able to, especially when you have them in the classroom and at home. That was a mind-blowing thing for me and extremely hard to do all these cool lessons and also digitally and transfer them over from how we used to do them in the classroom to being able to do them on the computer, both in the classroom and at home. Establishing relationships virtually was also extremely difficult. That was a big one for me too. I don't know if y'all are getting a delay with this, but I am. So it was pretty rough. So these are things that I think if you have something like Kami, an app like Kami that helps you to kind of go ahead and transfer materials you already have and put them in a digital format that will help your students still get meaning out of the activity by doing it online, but maybe it's not technically an online activity. It sort of buys you a little time, right? And so that's what we want to focus on today, is showing especially reluctant technology implementers how to use Kami to sort of dip their toes in and get started. So Alvin Toffler said the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. I think we've probably all felt like this past year we've been learning, unlearning, and relearning. It's been a constant cycle for me to learn how to do something new, and then to teach the kids how to do it, and then teach other teachers how to do it, and then the next day it's something else new. And there's a lot of teachers that retired this year that just said, I can't do it. And I got that. I felt that on a deep level. If I had some more years in, I might have been one of them. But also, I have made myself think about this. The way that we learned to access content when we were in high school or in elementary school is very different from the kids that are coming up today. If you teach high school like I do, these kids have never lived in a world without Facebook or Instagram. If you teach elementary school, these kids have never lived in a world without a Chromebook. So, they're going to access information in a completely different way than we do because they are born digital learners. So we have to be able to adapt. And Kami can help us do that. It can sort of get us started into tech integration in a easy way that's not intimidating, even to your most reluctant of tech learners. So if you don't have a Kami account, what I'll ask you to do is start you a tab. And there's a few different ways to get it. First of all, it will take any file format that is a PDF, any kind of document, any kind of PowerPoint or slide, sheets, image files, whatever you got, you can upload it and make a digital document out of it that they can work on digitally and annotate digitally. So the ways that you can get to it, you can add it from the Chrome Web Store, or the easiest way is to go to kamiapp.com. 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 And you can sign in with Google, and it will create you an account really quickly with your school Google account. And it's free. Now, with everything, there's the free version and then the fancy version that you pay for. Our district pays for the fancy version, but it's not that different from the free version, to be very honest with you. It does have some more bells and whistles and some conveniences, but not anything major. So if you'd like to see how this works, if you'll just very quickly create you an account, you have to click through a couple of questions that ask you if you're a K-12 educator or whatever. But I'll show you what it can do. So when you sign in, again, it'll tell you to log in with Google or Microsoft or whatever you have. I figure probably all y'all have Google. And it will remember you from then on out if you want it to, and it's very easy. Just make sure you give it permission when it asks. It'll prompt you to give it permission to talk to your Google Drive. And you're going to want it to do that. Now, it'll give you several different ways. This is what pops up once you have the account and you're a user. It'll give you several different ways to open a file, whether it's from Google, from OneDrive, from your computer. You can, if you use Google Classroom, you can create a Google Classroom assignment in about 10 seconds. It's so easy. We don't use Google Classroom in our district. We use Canvas, but it's very, very easy to do this, and I can show you later. So if you, when you get on there, you'll notice that there are several annotation tools. So we're going to show you what we're talking about in a minute. This is just kind of a flyby overview here. We're trying not to bore you too much with this stuff because you probably have seen this or something like it. So you can highlight straight on the document this way. You know, as an English teacher, it was really hard for me to say when they say go digital. Well, we need to write on what we're reading, and so this is a really, really easy way. And just like with a Google Doc or a Google Slide, it saves it continually as you work on it to your Google Drive, so you don't lose information and the kids don't lose their comments. You can use a text box to create comments. You can use a comment box if you want to stick it out to the side. Highlight and underlining are probably the tools that we use the most in my classroom. And this does translate pretty easily to elementary, as you'll see in just a minute. So Leslie's going to show you how this works. I'm going to stop sharing so she can. She's going to show you how this works with elementary. So often I feel like a lot of these presentations are geared toward high school, but we want to show you how it works for like all levels. So Leslie's going to take over and show you how Kami works with elementary.
Right. Okay, are y'all able to see my screen?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Just to show you a little bit of what Kami can do for the elementary level, which where'd it go? Is what I struggle with as an elementary teacher. It's really hard sometimes to integrate technology into the classroom, especially when you have kids that they don't know how to use a computer. You know, they don't know all the functions of a computer. They're not able to do everything that a high schooler would be able to. You have to walk them through every step. So I don't know where it went. It was pulled up and then it's decided to disappear. So just real quick, just to show you some of the tools. I know in elementary and through high school, we use thinking maps in our district. And even if you don't, you would use a graphic organizer or something like that. So it's really easy to come over here and create your own thinking map. And that's what I'm doing right now is I'm just coming over here and I'm going to make this small thinking map with my shape tool. Very simple. And then I can come in here and do a little text box to show them what I want them to do. So when they have it, this is what would pull up on their screen. And what's great about the elementary is all they have to come down here and do is click that drawing tool. We tell them to click the paintbrush. They can draw on it with their finger because in our district, our kids do have iPads, K through 2, so that helps them. So they can come over here and they can fill in words about first grade. Maybe it's fun. Or if they're having trouble, we're in the very beginning of first grade and we're having trouble spelling words. They can draw pictures. They can come over here and draw. Grade. And y'all, please excuse me and my stick person. But that gives them an activity to do that is digital. And then they can go right back and submit it to me, walk them through the steps of submitting. And I know that as it goes from the middle school version and the high school version, as they're going to show you, you'll be able to see different tools used. But as far as the elementary side, it's very simple and how we can use Kami on their level. It's very fun for them to be able to draw on their screen too, and it gives me a way to do my assignment. Now, if I have a worksheet that I have used and I know that this is what I want to use, I've used it for years. We talked about being reluctant to change. I know I've used this worksheet for years. I know it works and it's good. Then all I have to do is upload it. And she showed you the steps just a second ago for my PDF. Then even for my first graders, we're going through this together. I can tell them to go through and highlight their evidence as to where they found the answer to number one. And then all they have to do is just go right up here with that finger and draw and say highlight. And of course, that's not it, but you get how they could do that. Very simple. Just take their finger and run across it. It's some easy steps to walk through. And so that's how you can see it on the elementary side of things.
Okay. All right. So that works really well, and she's showing y'all on the PowerPoint if you'd like to see it. PowerPoint, listen at me. On the slideshow, some of her examples for how she uses that. Alicia's going to talk to you about how to use it for the middle school and high school levels, how Kami can be used to help digitally create content in those grade levels.
Okay, I'm trying to get it to share now. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so again, like Leslie said, some of the things that we already had in place, maybe we purchased them or they're worksheets that we found or created for ourselves. And again, you can still use that same stuff. You're just putting it in a different format. And so in our grade levels, this year we've only had the Chromebooks. So my kids don't have the iPads where they can write on it, which is fine because I teach 8th grade English. And so I just teach them the same things that Leslie has taught her kids about how to open it, what all these tools over here are, which Sarah went through earlier to explain. And so we've got our highlight tool, our markup, our comment boxes. And so like these that even have lines here, we can use that text box here to go ahead and create a space for us to write our answer. And of course, my kids, they love to change the colors of everything, which on a worksheet like this, I do like to tell them, you don't have to use black here. You can make it stand out, make it colorful for us. But this is just a type of worksheet that I've used in the past, just as a bell ringer to get us started. Again, something that I already had, but I uploaded it. I like to use an app called DocScan on my phone where I can just take a picture of the worksheets that I already have, the handouts, and then I can upload it that way. I think there's, probably multiple different ways. I know that you can use your Notes app on your phone. Another one that I'm going to show you, and y'all hang on. I said another one I'm going to show you. Give me just a second. Another one that I have is like our text. If I don't want to do a handout of the text or like in our virtual learning, I would just put the text here on Kami. This is a story that we would read. And then like Sarah said before, we would go through and annotate this. I know in the past with stories, either my kids could write directly on the paper or maybe if it was a novel that they would have Post-it notes and they'd be able to stick those in the book. But with Kami, they can write directly on the document. Even if we don't finish in that day, their work saves because it is a working document, pretty much like Google. And they can just go back into their Google Drive the next day, or because we use Canvas, they can go back and access it that way. Another way that we've used it is for like graphic organizers. And again, this is something that's already been created or that you could easily create on Google as a document, and maybe you just want to continue using Kami for that. But a character development chart where they can go through, and we worked on this one together. It was a little tool. This was one of the first things that we did in the school year just to get them familiar with and show them how to use Kami appropriately. One reason that I'm sold on Kami, regardless of pandemic, virtual learning, anything like that, is that I am an English teacher. And so the paper trail gets to be really abundant sometimes. And so this way, I'm not losing my students' papers. If they've turned it in, it's there and we can find it. And if not, they should have a copy of it, easy to access. I'm not having to run to the copy machine to go make extra copies for them. So I think it's a win-win for both of us on staying organized. And again, like Sarah and Leslie have mentioned, it's just a way to ease yourself into the world of digital learning. And I'm going to turn it back over
Okay.
to Sarah. I think have I stopped my screen?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start mine now again. Let me not forget to do that this time. Y'all ever get where the kids are like, you forgot to share your screen? That's what I feel like. And it's supposed to be summertime. So the cool thing about Kami, and this is where it gets kind of intimidating for reluctant technology users, is, and when I say that, y'all know I'm talking about people who are just real committed old school to having a binder and putting everything on paper. And y'all know too that that's just not the world we're living in. So most schools have adopted some sort of learning management system, whether it's Google Classroom, or we use Canvas. Some people use Schoology, which I don't know too much about, but all of these work seamlessly with Kami. And I'm going to show you real quick on my screen how you could very easily use a Kami assignment in Canvas and Google Classroom. And I'm going to go quick over the Canvas one because that's one that would be a different little mini planning session. So this is one that I used back in February where I had a little sheet. I wanted them to highlight on it and also write some steps. And it was one I had used in the past that I would normally just pass out when we get to this section of Romeo and Juliet. And I didn't want to change that up in the moment because it worked and I had other stuff to create. You don't have to reinvent the wheel with everything you do. So let me show you what that looks like real quick. It was the Friar Lawrence monologue. This is what it looked like when the kids did it. Okay. They pulled up their assignment and it automatically creates them a copy in their Google Drive. You don't have to get them to stop and save it and make a copy and do all that stuff. It does it for them, which is the cool thing about learning management systems. They take some of the management work off us. So when they pulled it up, and our internet at school is a lot faster than mine, it looked like this, where they write the steps on this side, and they can do that using the comment tool. The text box tool. And then they can highlight using the markup tool. So they would do all of this. And then if it were, if they were really the student on there would be this little box up here that says submit. And they would click submit and that would turn it in. Okay. So easy. Now here's what it looks like from my end to grade it. Well, it's supposed to anyway. Hang on just a second. It's so easy because, like Alicia said, you don't have near the paper that you used to, and the grading is all, you don't have to go backwards, and it's really wanting to be slow. I'm sorry. You don't have to go tote all that paper home with you. You can grade it all in one place if you have a learning management system, and I do love that. I love it. I love it so much. I could just about marry it. Okay, where'd it go? Gone are the days of toting that big old bag of paperwork home. Okay. I don't know why it's making me do this. It worked earlier. Okay, it's not wanting to show me the grade book. Okay, because that's why. Okay, so in SpeedGrader, this is what it looks like when I would grade what the kids did and Kami through something like Canvas. It's so easy. Gosh, I just love it. And I did this for a completion grade because 2021 was full of completion grades for me. So the students did, like on my side on the right, it's the grade where I grade it, and you can attach a rubric too, and I usually do, but I didn't for this. I promise you, when you're at school and you have decent internet, it doesn't do like this. All right, so the kid turned it in and didn't have to do anything but mash a button. And to grade it, I didn't have to do anything but look and see what he did. And look, he highlighted, he did his thing on the side. I gave him 100 for it, and I rolled on to the next child. And that's it for grading on Kami. You don't have to get your pen out and do all this stuff. It's fantastic. Now, let me show you real quick how you would do it from Google Classroom, because I think a lot of folks use Google Classroom. And I'm, I have one familiar and all that stuff, but I don't have to upkeep one because we have Canvas now. But Kami works even better with Google Classroom than it does Canvas. All you have to do, literally, to create an assignment in Kami is click that button, and you title it whatever, and then you go to your Google Drive right there, and you pick wherever it is in your Google Drive. There's something. Hit select. And then you can make a copy for each student, or if you want them to collaborate, they can share one copy, or you can just have them look at it, whichever you want to set it to. You can assign a due date and a time and all that fun stuff. And you just, I'm sorry, I forgot to select the course. I'm glad it tells me when I mess up. Then you can assign it. And I mean, it's just could not be easier. So, and obviously my internet's taking a minute, and y'all, that's my dog snoring. I'm so sorry. All right. And it'll give you the option to open it in Classroom. I know I have this cacophony of background noises, and I apologize. It's pouring down rain, and I just don't have it in me to let them outside in it. So there would be your assignment in Google Classroom. So easy stuff. It's not hard to learn how to use it. Even your most reluctant of learners can do this. It's really, really easy. So if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the presentation, and we will do our best to answer them real quick. Because I know we're running about 4 minutes before we're supposed to be out of time. And then if we don't have any questions, if you'll follow this link here to take you to the evaluation survey, if y'all would let us know how we did, you can go ahead and say that Sarah Taylor woman talks way too fast, because she knows she does. My kids tell me that all the time, but I have this horrible fear of running over and wasting people's time. So if y'all wouldn't mind doing that, and we appreciate you. And if you have any questions, again, you can type them here or ask them in the chat.